Welcome everyone to another Sunday at the Center of Love, whether you are here in person or online. Welcome everyone. So today we're going to start off with a song chosen by our speaker of the day. And the name of the song is Give Yourself to Love by Kate Wolf. Much for that song. I've never heard it before. That's a new one for me. Had a bit of a Joni Mitchell vibe to it and just absolutely beautiful. I mean, give yourself to love. Isn't that what we're doing here? What we're endeavoring to do every single moment of every single day? Cultivating that center of love that is within each and every one of us. And so the center of love, this is who we are. This is where we are. It is everything that is going on all the time at the intersection of right here, right now, is all he likes to say. And so for those of you who are new to this community, maybe it's your first time, maybe you haven't been with us for a while, a few things about who we are and why we come together the way that we do. So in our agreements, there is a quote by Helen Schuchman from A Course in Miracles that opens up our community agreements that says, your task is not to seek for love, but merely to seek and find all the barriers within yourself that you have built against it. And so moment by moment, thought by thought, word by word, action step by action step, this is what we're endeavoring to do, to remember who and what we truly are, that beneath all of the expectations, the roles, the labels, the circumstances, the pain, the anguish, the fear, the overwhelm, the anxiety, whatever, ultimately, underneath all of that is only love. The center of love that is the very essence of our being that connects us all together. And so part of our commitments as a community, we commit to lead with love and allow love to be the motive behind our thoughts and actions. Honor and respect individual differences while remembering that which unites us. Share our gifts with each other and the world. And when it comes to gifts and sharing, I just want to bring everyone's attention to the latest piece of artwork here by our beautiful, amazing, talented member, Linda. And she noted that, again, more broken bus stop glass as part of this collage here. We also come together as a community to cultivate healing, personal growth, and wholeness. And we come together to inspire, uplift, and empower by serving with, and I would like to add, as love. So love, 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 love. That's what we're all about. And Sherry Morgan, who is our guest speaker today, is going to offer some words of wisdom and insights on what love means to her. And I'm really curious because Sherry has this beautiful little book out called Prayers of Gratitude, an ancient context for prayer and healing. And if there is one way that we can express love, one amazing way that raises our vibration instantaneously, it's through gratitude and appreciation. And so before I introduce Sherry, there's something that I would like to do, which I don't think we have done in the year that our community has been coming together. And I would like to express gratitude and appreciation for the land that we are gathered on here today and for the stewards of that land that have been here for thousands of years before this became known as Langford, British Columbia, or even Canada. So I would just like to invite everyone to close your eyes or lower your gaze if you wish. Receive a deep life-affirming breath in. Open up your heart. Plant your feet on the ground and allow yourself to feel connected to the earth. And I offer you these words as I share them with you, that we say thank you and that we acknowledge with honor and love and respect the traditional territories of the Coast Salish peoples, specifically the Swisepsum, the Lekwungen, the China, and the Sanchothan-speaking people, also known as the Wasanich peoples, represented by the Tsartlip, Pakwakin, Saut, Sakum, and Malahat nations. We thank them for their stewardship and for sharing this beautiful land with us. And so just feel that gratitude, that connection with the land, the mountains, the trees, the ocean, the love that we all share, the love that we all are. And as you breathe out, just breathe out more love into the life that connects and unites us all. And now I invite you to open your eyes. And so a little bit more about the names of some of those First Nations and some of the languages that are being spoken. I found it interesting when I was looking things up that China, which also is known as Beecher Bay, is also known as place of big fish. Sartlip is known as land of maples. Wasanich is known as emerging peoples, and not even known as, this is what it translates into. And so there is a rich, reverent connection with the land. Even the beliefs that the Wasanich people hold is that the mountains and the trees and the oceans and the lakes and the fish, all of those were once people too. And the spirit of those people still lives on in all of these elements of the land that we are gathered on. They believe that the four winds, the trees, the birds, the animals, and the fishes were people one long time ago, that living things can understand us if we speak to them using special words. And I would say beyond special words, special feelings, feelings like love and gratitude and appreciation. That the islands, the salmon, and the living things can be called upon to help survive in this life. And that the fire and the water have a life and spirit too, and that they can assist in the communication beyond this life. And however you take that to mean, there is spirit in everything. There is love in everything. There is infinite potentiality in everything. And when we give ourselves to love, when we open up our hearts to the tears and laughter and whatever else there is to experience, we open up the opportunity to allow the center of love that each and every one of us is to heal, to grow, to expand, and to connect. And so with all of this talk about land and gratitude and appreciation, I would like to introduce Sherry Morgan, who, a spiritual calling experience in 1982 jump-started her on her spiritual path. She has apprenticed with shamans and elders in 3 indigenous traditions, the Nahuatl and Huichol of Mexico, and the Ojibwe of Ontario. Following guidance to do so, Sherry has taught people about eco-spiritual prayer since 2000 and in 5 countries. And like I mentioned, she has this little book of gratitude, which is going to be available later on today for those people who haven't had a chance to purchase it yet. And just on a more personal note, I met Sherry at the beginning of this year when we met at the World Religions Conference. And we've had a few lovely conversations, and I look forward to a deeper, richer conversation tomorrow when we finally go for our walk together. And I am just really, really, really looking forward to hear her wisdom and her insights on the connection that we have with the land, on the connection that we have with each other, and how gratitude and just being so grateful for the planet and the stewardship of the planet from a place of love is all about. So Sherry Morgan, come on up.
Well, thank you. And speaking of thank you and gratitude, thank you all for being here today, to give me a chance to speak about something that's super dear and near and dear is the word I wanted to me. Some of you, I know, have already seen my book, and some of you have heard me share about how Love is Round came to me, but not all of you, so I'll repeat some of it. So as Lacey pointed out, I wanted to ask. So as Lacey pointed out, I teach people about prayer. I called it eco-spiritual prayer in the introduction because some people have a bit of a block to the word prayer. Anybody here have a block to the word prayer? And Lori, I can't see you unless I come that way, but welcome. It's good to have you here.
Sorry, Sharon, could you speak up a little louder?
Speak a little louder.
Just for the room, not for the microphone, but people in the back are.
Wow.
Thank you.
Anybody have an aversion to the word prayer in this audience? Lori or anybody? Good. So after a vision quest in 1997, I got a lot of messages, teach people about prayer. Now, if I'd written a list of 1,000 things I might do in this life, prayer would not have been on that list. It would never have occurred to me. But when it came through like a message, it just felt right. And so I went out and got my teachers, the ones I was supposed to get. And the first one was an Ojibwe elder by the name of Carolyn Oliver. And she taught me to go outside in nature first thing every morning, before eating, before drinking, before peeing, before sunrise, and give thanks to everything I can witness in nature or think of to give thanks to. Am I coming across okay back there?
Mhm.
So I did that every single morning and every single night for 365 days for a minimum of an hour, both morning and night. And a minimum of an hour, it took me a few days to get to an hour. But because when you start paying attention in nature to that tree, thank you for whatever I could think of, and that tree, thank you for whatever I could think of, and that mosquito and that gnat and that those clouds and so on and so on and so on. There's an awful lot to be grateful for. Really enormous amount. I could probably have been out for 2 hours morning and night. I was probably hungry and needed to pee. Anyway, so it was in 2000 that I began teaching about prayer, and my prayer teacher was the Spirit of Fire. Well, this Ojibwe elder, the gratitude prayers for sure. And then the elemental Spirit of Fire was my primary teacher. I was interested that fire was mentioned in the song, Love is Born from Fire, I think it says, or something like that. Well, fire, my dear friend Alicia, who's here, will be able to tell you extremely well, better than me, but that fire is our heart energy. So we're all comprised of everything, you know, all the elements and all that kind of stuff. And we don't live without the elements. But fire is our heart, and it's the organ that's meant to be the emperor or the empress of our lives. It's meant to be the one that guides us. As Lesia pointed out, it's all about love when you get, you know, under this and under that, under these layers. What's present is love. So love guides us. Love is us. And love is relational. So it happened to be the God of love, elemental Spirit of Fire, who taught me how to teach people how to pray. The core basis of prayer is the experience of connection. So we don't have a conversation with each other unless we know we're connected, right? By phone, by text, maybe by in person, we see each other. Well, it works the same way with prayer. It's supposed to work the same way with prayer. So when I teach people about prayer, I teach mainly the core basis of prayer, which is get out of the way what's in the way so we can experience our natural connection. And it just so happens that time and time again, some in my own experiences and many who I've taught reporting what their experience was of connecting with a tree, a plant, a rock, a stump, a twig, a stream, ocean, whatever it is, reported that the experience was loving, really loving and relational. That tree loved me. I was in the tree was in me. They felt friendship, kinship, love. So we're connected in spirit. Like our bodies separate us, but our spirit connects us. So when we connect our spirit with the spirit alive in anything in nature, as Lacey also pointed out, then that experience is a loving experience. Love is round. So love is reciprocal, relational, in the field. That's what we experience. That's what we discover. That experience is what I call healing. We heal the illusion that we're separate. We dissolve the illusion that we're separate. And the more we can experience that, the more we trust that. And because that connection experience is loving, it also dissolves the illusion that we're unlovable. Because most of us have that illusion from time to time, I think, or at least that fear. So that's love is round and the beginning of prayers of gratitude. There's a lot of so after teaching people about prayer for 15 years, I then had Love is Round arrive in my prayer time one day, and it showed me that's the very design of our universe. Talked about that already, so I won't go there anymore. And then that I found out later that message, Love is Round, and that showing grand showing, was given to me by a sacred mountain in California. That sacred mountain has a purpose, just like you and I have a purpose, and just like everything in nature has a purpose. That particular sacred mountain is protector of creation. Love is round, is creation. That mountain's job is to protect the love is round nature of creation. Our nature, nature's nature, the universe's nature, it's all rotating around, right? It is round, rotating around, spinning around. I started a pilgrimage cycle to that sacred mountain so that that mountain could help me with my Love is Round work. And I think the first year that I went there, I got messages, start a movement or continue a movement already started. That movement is prayers of gratitude. Prayers of gratitude protect the love is round nature of our world. Okay, I'm done. No. So there's a lot of benefits of gratitude. Like there's studies all over the place. You can Google it on the internet, and there's all sorts of studies that show the benefits of gratitude. And apparently, even if all we do is journal 3 things we're grateful for every year, because some of the studies are about that, it produces terrific benefit in us. Increased dopamine level, increased joy, you could say. I wrote down some of the benefits of what I call prayers of gratitude, but gratitude. But prayers, let's do prayers of gratitude because it's nature prayers of gratitude. We sense the world around us appreciating our appreciation. That was huge for me because I, like probably most of us, grew up with a world that was inanimate. It's a thing world, a the world, and the it world. The idea that the world, well, yes, trees are alive and plants are alive, we know that, but that they could communicate with me, that they could send me love, they could give me guidance, messages. That was revolutionary. And so I went out there like a good doer would. Yes, I'm a good doer. To do what my teacher taught me to do. Go out before sunrise, give thanks to everything you can witness or think of to give thanks to. And so I did that like a good doer and started discovering vast numbers of gifts that nature gives us. Nature's giving us gifts all of the time. And we're not, for the most part, saying thank you. The minimum exchange for a gift is gratitude. We know that with each other. We all grew up with manners, right? Please and thank you. And but we weren't taught, I bet. Was anybody here taught? Maybe Emmy, were you? You were taught to say thank you to nature. Good for you. Good for your family. Well, anybody else? Were you taught to say thank you to the trees and the plants and the ocean and the birds and the fish and the moon and the sun and the stars? And no, because they seem so distant and they just do their thing. But there's an incredible benefit to doing so. And my invitation today is please do that. Because it protects the love is around nature of us and them and it, like love is around nature itself. And so the more we can do that, the more we help ourselves, the more we help our world. So I'm kind of dovetailing here and there, but it occurred to me recently that I've read that babies who are not held die. Babies who are not loved die. And then it occurred to me that there's a lot of species going extinct on our planet. Is it possible they're going extinct because they're not being loved? Because they're not being appreciated? more so than because we're, polluting with our cars or whatever. Anyway, it's an interesting question. I've also heard that it's up to humans, only humans on the planet, to bring the world back to our nature of love. That's our responsibility. So back to the benefits of prayers of gratitude. We feel connected and related to life around us. We feel loved and loved for. We discover this incredible joy to be alive with all that sees us and knows us and loves us and helps us. We might just experience receiving guidance, inspiration, wisdom. We might just find ourselves skipping down the street singing. Gratitude keeps us humble. When we focus on gratitude, it's about us rather than me. And we focus on what's right in the world rather than what's wrong in the world. And that's super helpful for us. Super beneficial. We build relationships with aspects of the world around us, and sometimes we need those relationships. I'm going to do a little exercise with you later rather than a meditation that kind of highlights that. It puts us right with nature. We've been living an awfully long time without the reciprocation of gratitude, minimally gratitude to nature. So we put ourselves right with nature by giving thanks. And we live in harmony, greater harmony, much greater harmony with self and world around us, because we really tap into that love nature and stop fearing. What's in the way of love is fear, essentially. Judgments, justifications, mind chatter, all sorts of things. But ultimately that amounts to fear, because I think we're afraid because we don't feel connected and related and loved. And the more we get to feel connected and related and loved, the more that fear dissolves, and that's healing. Years after I figured out that what healing is to me is dissolving the illusion that we're separate, I read a quote from Thich Nhat Hanh that says, "We are here to awaken from our illusion of separateness." All right, now I have no idea how I'm doing time-wise.
You're good.
Good. So I want to share a little story. Recently, I wrote a story, a 2,000-word story, and a new friend that I haven't met in person ever, but she lives in Michigan and she's a friend of a friend, helped me edit the story. And so as a thank you, I said, "Would you like me to do a companion prayer with you?" Explained what a companion prayer was, and she said yes. So we set a date and we arranged a Zoom call and chatted for several minutes before getting to the prayer. During the chat, she said to me, "I've discovered something about myself. I'm unredeemable. I went through a long period of I'm not good enough, I'm not lovable, I don't deserve. My twin brother committed suicide for those same reasons. I know that it's an epidemic in our culture to go through, I'm not good enough, I'm not lovable, I don't deserve," some versions of that. But unredeemable? I was shocked. Wow, that's big. So we got around to the companion prayer, and I said, "What would you like to have guidance on behalf of?" And she mentioned some health issue or other and was grappling with how to say it and how to phrase it. And so I said, "Well, we could do a prayer about your health issue. For sure we could. Or we could do a prayer on behalf of the unredeemable issue." She agreed to that latter one. So I asked her to light a candle. She said, I'm afraid of fire. So I gave her a little talk about fire as heart and our guide that knows, fire is what's meant to steer us, and our mind is meant to help us figure out how to steer what the heart knows about where we need to go or what we need to learn or whatever. And we had that whole conversation, and so she was ready. So I brought a candle today. And I want to make it visible to Lori as well.
Mhm.
So, so I want to finish sharing this story first. So we did the prayer, and I asked her if it's okay if we pray to fire. Ooh, I'm afraid of fire. So but we got through that, and what she received was a profound sense of love from fire. And the words, 4 lines of a song that she knew in her Catholic upbringing. The lines are, come back to me with all your heart. Don't let fear keep us apart. Long have I waited for your coming home to me and living deeply our new lives. She has since written me 3 times, at least. That was only 2 weeks ago. I'm checking. She's since written to me 3 times to where did I put my light somewhere? Right there. Well, hang on. She's since written to me 3 times to say how much fire is teaching her, how much she's gaining from her relationship with fire. And she's been thanking me and thanking me. So I asked fire if fire would be willing to give you all some guidance. Okay. And fire said yes. Well, he didn't say yes. I just felt yes. Lori, can you see my candle?
Yeah, you're clear in the.
Right. Oh yeah, there I am. So now is there anybody here? Is everybody here okay with doing a companion prayer that would gain some guidance from fire, which is your heart energy? Is there anybody who would not like that? Lori, you okay? So companion prayers are something that kind of a bit of an adjunct to my prayer teaching work that I discovered, I don't know, 20 years ago or something. So I seem to have this gift to help people get their own guidance. So lots of people, psychics and stuff like that, they get guidance for you, but I don't. But I help you get your own guidance. So here's how a companion prayer works. The first step would always be, thank you. Thank you, fire, for whatever you want to say thank you to fire for. Minimally, fire, and of course, fire is our heart energy, so fire guides us, and it's kind of the access to our soul or our spirit, our purpose, our sense of self. Our love is around nature, but fire is also light in the darkness and warmth in the cold. I think we've suffered a great deal in our culture because we can now flick a switch for light in the darkness and warmth in the cold. We don't any longer have a relationship directly with fire necessarily. I mean, some people do, but. So the first step is always thank you. Thank you. I call him Grandfather Fire to be respectful. Thank you, Grandfather Fire, for whatever you want to say thank you for. And we'll all just do this silently. And then I think with a group, we're going to have to use one prayer. So we can't have individual prayers. like unredeemable or a particular health issue or whatever it is. So we'll just agree on a common prayer. And I suggest something like, fire, please help me with, please show me some guidance that would help me on my spiritual path at this time. Something like that. Does that work? Yeah. For anybody that doesn't work? Okay. All right. So, yeah, so give thanks to fire. And then, Grandfather Fire, please will you help me, show me what would be helpful on my path at this time. You might want to look at the candle flame, because sometimes some people get guidance, they see something in the flame. If you know you're better receiving guidance with your eyes closed, that's also fine. But I usually suggest people look at the candle. Up to you. And then you go silent. So once the prayer is offered, the petition is offered, you go silent, look at the candle flame perhaps, and allow whatever to come in. Whatever's going to come in is going to come in very quickly. Because it's not just one of you, a whole bunch of you. What you could do is give me a little hand or something like that when you feel like you've got what was coming. And then when I see most of the hands or whatever, I can break the silence. Or maybe I'll just break the silence after 2 or 3 minutes or whatever it is. So yeah. If you want, write it down. If you've got a journal, write down what came to you. Questions? No. All right, so we can begin. So again, gratitude first, and then the silent petition. Go silent and just wait. So by the way, the guidance could come as something you recognize as words, could be images, could be feelings, could be some kind of an affirmation, something, but just if you would maybe breathe, let's do that. Breathe into our hearts for maybe 11 breaths into your heart, just to quiet the mind and be present in the heart, become present in the heart. And then just quietly go into the gratitude and the petition and the silence as you're ready. All right, is everybody ready? Yeah. Okay, ready or not?
Yeah.
I probably ought to have said that. So our minds, because we're so conditioned in our minds in this culture, our minds will come in immediately after the guidance comes in and probably try to talk us out of it. Because the mind has been in control for a long time. It's not meant to be in control, but it doesn't want to give up control. It's kind of like some of the leaders in our world. So just know that if something happened, it probably had a different experience, energetic experience than the mind that came after it. And go with what came before the mind started doubting or whatever it did.
All right, so in that gratitude, before closing us out, Cressa has asked that we all open up our hearts to one of our members, Ivory, who is in hospital right now. And we just know, that she is love, that she is infinite vitality, that she is blessed in every single breath, that everyone and everything involved in her care is grounded and founded in knowing that they are every single mountain, every single tree, every single ocean, every single ounce of love that there is in this world, that's who and what she is, and that she is eternally cared for. So I just invite you to hold that in your hearts in the coming hours, days, and weeks ahead. And just keep holding on to that love as I read a few words from Sherry G. Morgan's book, Prayers of Gratitude. Often as humans, we believe we know what Earth needs, what our environment needs. But what if we asked Earth, ocean, forest, stream, etc., how can I help? And if we received guidance that we acted upon and it worked out beyond our wildest expectations, wouldn't that bring us great joy and fuel our passion? And then, even before I knew about Sherry's work with an Ojibwe shaman teacher, I was thinking of bringing in some Richard Wagamese to close us off today, who was Ojibwe. And I have used some of his teaching or his readings in some of the talks that I've done before. So he writes from his book, Embers, One Ojibwe's Meditations. It is love itself that brings us all together. This human family we're a part of, this singular voice that is the accumulation of all voices raised together in praise of all creation, this one heartbeat, this one drum, this one immaculate love that puts us here together so that we could learn its primary teaching, that love is the energy of creation, that it takes love to create love.